Everybody, welcome back with the Plat. I'm doing another updated tier list because now I think I have played with basically all the characters and I just have more knowledge of the game at this point than when I did the first one, and it just feels like it's kind of a good time. So quick couple caveats here regarding 3 characters. Orlia I do not have, thus I have not ever played her. Maribel I have, but I haven't had a chance to level her yet, so I haven't played her. And Rin, I haven't played just because I didn't like her play style. So those 3 specific characters, I am going to revisit again, probably by the next tier list. I will actually have more knowledge on them, assuming I could pull Orlia, but I will promise to play more of these 2. But for now, I'm going to leave them where they are. So Rin in C tier is going to stay. That's not necessarily that I think she would be in C tier if I brought my new knowledge into it, but I still need to build her, and I'm just low on resources. Everyone else, though, we are going to go over and discuss. And in fact, let's just start with the new character. Actually, you know what? Let's end with Yuki. I think that's better. So we'll go S and we'll work our way down. Calipe. Oh, also, so this is going to be in the context of Chaos, either Zero system or the new, you know, it basically just doing Chaos runs in general, because that's what I consider like the main game mode. As far as the other, like the dimension of hyperspace and the other kinds of fights, like those are fine, but I feel like any OP build you get can make it work. So I don't think it really matters as much which characters you use, whereas Chaos, which I feel like is mostly the main game mode, is something that I think is, I don't know, that's just kind of what I care about. So Calipe, I think she is going to maintain S tier. Beryl, this might be controversial. There might be a couple controversial things. I'm going to move her to the top of A tier for Chaos. I do think she is good in Chaos, but I had her in S tier because of how good she is outside of Chaos, in addition to being good in Chaos. She always has a very consistent level of power, but she doesn't always pop off to be crazy, basically. So I think she's more of an A tier character if you're only thinking of Chaos. Mika, I think she's basically the best character in the game. I think she might just objectively be, objective's a strong word, but I think she's the best character in the game. I think a lot of people would kind of agree with that. So she's actually above Calipe in my opinion at this point. And honestly, I don't think I really need to discuss it that much more. Hugo, I think I'm going to put Hugo to the actual very, very top of A tier, above Beryl even. And I think that might sound crazy because I think Hugo is S tier potential, but I think he's S tier in his team specifically, not as like a general unit. He just feels like he's kind of narrow, at least when I use him. I don't feel like I want to use him that much unless I'm running specifically Tressa. And at that point, I feel like Tressa does most of the heavy lifting anyway. So I think Hugo is really good, but I'm not sure he's quite S tier. Veronica, I'm going to put right below Hugo in the A tier as well. She just does not seem like she's on the level of the other characters in S tier to me. She is very good though, obviously. I mean, A tier is about, is most of the way up to the top. I think she's very good. She goes good in a lot of teams, but she never like absolutely breaks a run or makes it super, super easy. She's always just like a pretty reasonable character to add. Mei Lin, I think, is an S tier character, probably the best single target DPS. Depending in the current like event Chaos, Tressa tends to do better because Tressa does double damage against bosses because they're weak to her element. But Mei Lin is kind of insane. She's obviously very good outside of Chaos, but even in Chaos, she just like baseline is really strong. It's very easy for her just to blow stuff up. Her AoE is pretty much non-existent, so you might want a little bit of support with that. But honestly, I think she is like an S tier. Like you compare what Hugo does and what Mei Lin does, I feel like Mei Lin, her damage potential is just a little bit higher. Haru, I think she is gonna just drop down a little bit in A tier. I think she deserves A tier. I need to play her more. It's been a little while, but I haven't been super blown away. Tressa, I think, went from C tier on my first list, and she's going all the way up to S tier now. I might even put her above Mei Lin. It's hard to tell because I've run Tressa mostly in the event where she gets double damage, but she just seems so insanely powerful. I think Mei Lin's probably better on an average. But Tressa, I think, is absolutely an S tier character. I mean, if you're just running Mika, Tressa, Hugo, that's like probably the most powerful team in the entire game. Absolutely bonkers powerful. I was definitely wrong about her. And that, I was kind of blinded by the fact that her poison didn't do as much as I wanted it to, but I was ignoring how much damage she dishes out while doing the poison. And you still can make the poison do an insane amount of damage. You just need to get a little bit more work into it than I was putting in. Renoa, I think Renoa's A tier. She's good. I think she's honestly, Renoa is just worse than Tressa most of the time, but Renoa does have some pretty sick synergies. Renoa has like a bigger ultimate payoff, I think, over like someone like Tressa, where you can get like your whole deck full of dirge bullets and then use Nia to discard the whole deck into the graveyard, and then you just pop, like, you know, like literally 20 times, 30 times. So you do some really cool stuff, but I mean, she's A and she's good. She could do a lot of damage, but I don't think she's quite S tier. Kayron, I'm actually going to move to B tier. The thing is, I think Kayron at 2 Awakenings becomes way better. He's just, after running him like 5, 6, 7 times, it was just, he was so awkward in the beginning of runs. He had some late game potential, but if you started making these like these stupid voids or whatever they're called, and they didn't have the attack attached to them, it was just very awkward. His AoE wasn't as consistent or strong as I thought it would be, and he also kind of sacrifices a little bit of his attack for his damage for like healing, which actually kind of reminds me of Ray. He's like a more offensive version of Ray in a lot of ways. But I just wasn't blown away, honestly. Maybe I need to get some copies of him. Maybe I need to run him some more. I know he could be absolutely busted. All characters can be busted. Everyone on this list has the potential to be busted. But as far as like a consistency of power standpoint, he just felt not in the A tier now that I've used him myself. Selena, I'm going to put at the top of B tier for now. This is another character I do want to revisit a little bit more. And you know, it just, there's a lot of characters in the game. You know, I do want to play her more because I really like her and I like her mark stuff, and she could absolutely start popping off. But I felt like I had an issue where I either wasn't able to get the mark that I wanted, or I got so much mark that I wasn't able to spend all the stacks. So that could be a me not playing her enough issue, but she just seems like she's a very solid and a very fun character, but not quite on the A tier of characters for me. Cassius is going to stay right where he's at. I think he could make it S tier if it wasn't for the fact that Mika is like so insanely busted. Cassius probably deserves to be up here a bit more. Just overall, he, you know, his ability to get any card you want is very good. If you get the ability to choose your quest, that's huge. And he gets to heal a lot, especially when you get him up to the max, like rank 6 or whatever, and he can start giving like morale down every time you complete a quest. And then you could do like a bunch of 0-cost cards and do an attack, or have every character play a card draw. You could complete quests like 3 times a turn, keep enemies constantly at low morale. He has a good ego skill, and he's obviously very good at just letting you get through your deck and supporting other characters. The only reason he's not S tier is because at the top level of content, I feel like you really need really good healing, and his healing isn't there yet, at least when I use him as like a dedicated healer. So I'm usually running him and Mika, and then I'm putting a lot of emphasis on that last damage dealer, and I just don't think he's quite there yet for his perfect team, but he is obviously very, very good. Ray is going to go to the very top of B tier for me right now. I think Ray is very solid, but she always is worse than I think she's going to be. Her healing is obviously pretty bad. She has a little bit of it. And the way she buffs damage, it seems like it's going to be insane. Like I run Ray and I run Renoa and I run Ray and I run Luke. And honestly, she just does, it feels like they still do less damage than just like a Tressa and Hugo. Like it feels like, yeah, she's like a support that helps boost damage, but her supporting ability, like you kind of need to run someone like Mika then as well, right? Or a second dedicated healer or shielder just to make it so you don't die. And the damage you're getting from her is I've used her a lot, and she never feels like she's actually the right option, more of a win more. I don't feel like the damage she's providing is ever making the difference, and I'll just end up dying as opposed to needing her damage. So we're gonna move her there. Magna, I think Magna deserves an A tier. I don't think she's as good as Calipe, but she does have a surprisingly good amount of AoE, because it's not that hard to get that card that makes it so your counterattack applies to all enemies. And she has the glacial strike that can go into AoE. So she has good AoE, really good shielding, and the counterattack is pretty good. She also, because she has so much like Crystallize in her deck, and you could duplicate cards with Crystallize and buy cards with Crystallize, you'll end up getting like a bunch of free shield every turn, even if you're not using her cards. So I feel like she is one of the better sustain units, even better than Calipe in some ways. Calipe is probably just better, but I think Magna does get kind of a bad rap. I don't think people use her enough. She is quite good. Owen, I think Owen is for me, he's like a top of B tier character. Absolutely a Chad, but he is kind of a he doesn't blow you away, but he's always good. I'm not comfortable putting him A tier, but I think Owen is like a very solid B tier character. Maribel, we talked about, we're leaving her there. Nia, I am moving down to C tier. I think she is just kind of sus, honestly. I have been continuously unimpressed with, the more I use her, the more I think she sucks. And I'm not ready to put her down into like a really bad tier, but she feels worse than Cassius at Cassius's job, and worse than Mika at Mika's job, and worse than Ray at Ray's job. So she doesn't feel like she's better than anybody at anything. I would always rather run one of the other supports, and that's fine. Maybe I'm not using her right, but I just never feel like every time I run her, I feel like my team is weaker than if I just run a different character. So that could, I mean, I have mine maxed out too, right? Mine, I think, is Awakening 6. So it's not like I'm just waiting for the power. Maybe I'm playing her wrong a little bit. She has like this discard synergy. I think when you get like more characters that really care about discarding stuff, like obviously Renoa can do it. I think that will pay off more. There's not a lot that love the discard stuff. Renoa's the closest, and even then, I just don't feel like, I think Ray tends to do better with Renoa than Nia does. And you can run Nia, Ray, Renoa, but then I feel like you just don't have enough healing to keep yourself alive. So we're there. Ren, we just talked about, we're gonna keep her there. Owen, or sorry, not Owen. Owen's up here. He's just that you know, Chad is just stuck in my mind. Luke, I think Luke is going to stay in the C tier. I think Luke can be very powerful, and you could do some sick stuff with him. And I think late game, you get really good gear. He's max awakened. I think he will genuinely be one of the best DPS. I think he could outperform potentially Mei Lin. That's speculation, but I feel like his upgrades are so powerful as you get them going that he could actually be a flippin' monster. But in the early game, he's just fine, and he's a little inconsistent. It can be hard to get his stuff going. You really want to draw things in the right order, which is something that is very annoying about some of the DPS characters. And he has a fucking terrible ego skill. His ego skill is so expensive for like a single target hit. I hate his ego skill. So Luke, I think, is currently down in the C tier for now. Orlia, I have not played at all. Some people love her, some people hate her. I honestly just can't comment on her. We're going to keep her there. Lucas, I'm going to move Lucas up to B tier. I think Lucas is actually, he's just been good. He has a lot of good cards. The RPG is pretty good. He gets a free bullet card. When you get him maxed out, that free bullet card every turn is pretty good because it counts as basic attacks. And then he's got like 3 different great AoE attacks. He's actually like secretly just one of the better AoE damage dealers. He has the flash grenade that can apply weaken and also deal good damage. He has the flamethrower, which has discard and draw synergy and also could just do good damage. His individual bullets, the launcher bullets, can hit multiple targets. So, and his RPG obviously hits all targets. So Lucas has been very good, and I very much liked him. I'm not sure I'm willing to put him up to like A tier or anything like that, but I do think he is quite good. Amir, you're going to stay down here. I think Amir is still the worst character in the game. Maybe when she gets Awakening 6, she will start to pop off. I will reuse her once I get to Awakening 6. That's when she gets the 1 metallicized per turn. But until then, I'm not even spending my time with her. She's just been so unbelievably bad. It's been embarrassing. But I will revisit her at some point in the future. Now, Yuki is controversial. I think some people put Yuki really low, but I don't think Yuki's bad. I don't think Yuki's like an S tier. I think Yuki is like a probably, honestly, wherever Haru is, she's probably right next to Haru. I think she's just totally a fine character. Is she absolutely bonkers? No. I think she's reasonably well balanced. I don't like bringing her that much, just in general. Like she's not very good against single target, and against AoE, it could be annoying because you could actually just not get the stuff you need. I don't know. I think she's a good character. She's balanced. She's fair. Her animation's a little bit long because she's a character where you draw her stupid iceberg cleave so much. If you're using a deck that has like 2 of them in there and you're drawing them every turn, you might watch that. I've watched that animation like 2 times a turn for 4 turns in a row. It's like just unbelievable how many times you have to watch that stupid animation. But her ego skill also, I think, kind of sucks. Not really a big fan of that. But I think she's honestly deserves to be an A tier. So that is where we're going to leave it right now. Let me get my camera out of the way for a second here. Video capture device, boom. So this is my current tier list. I'm pretty happy with what I'm looking at here. Again, there's just a lot of characters in the game, and they honestly are all pretty deep. You could play a lot. It's not like a game where you have a character and you read their kit and you know exactly how they play and what they do. This, you actually need to play characters for a while, see their epiphanies, see how their different combinations of their own epiphanies end up working together, how they work with other characters, how it actually feels when you draw the cards. Like, okay, is this person on paper perfect, but if you draw their cards in the wrong order, do they just absolutely suck? That could be it. You know, are they good at tempo? Or there's a lot of things to consider when you're bringing characters into a chaos run. So right now, I do want to revisit multiple of these characters. I do plan on finishing building. I'm going to finish building these characters once I get all the units back, because I don't want to spend a bunch of units I will get them back, but right now I'd have to spend energy on them, and I think I might be like a multi-millionaire because every character in the game is like level 50 basically, right? So we should be getting a lot of that back. But there we go. Let me know where you agree. Let me know where you disagree. What am I fundamentally super wrong about, and what am I fundamentally super right about? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Anyway, that's all for today. Much love. Per platypus is per ploutopus. I will see you on the flip-flops. Bye!